Welcome to my channel, Worldwise. Everybody is looking for answers. The world watches with bated breath. Global tensions simmer. The specter of a third world war, once unthinkable, now casts a long shadow. The potential for a catastrophic conflict, one that could reshape the geopolitical landscape and threaten the very fabric of civilization, has emerged as a stark reality of our time. While the drums of war may not yet beat, the warning signs are undeniable. A complex web of geopolitical fault lines fueled by nationalistic ambitions, ideological clashes, and the relentless pursuit of power has brought the world to a precarious precipice. The question is no longer if a third world war is possible, but rather how we can prevent it. The stakes could not be higher. The destructive power of modern warfare, particularly in the age of nuclear weapons and sophisticated cyber warfare, has the potential to unleash unimaginable devastation on an unprecedented scale. The very survival of humanity, once a philosophical question, has become a tangible concern. As we grapple with the possibility of another global conflict, it is instructive to revisit the lessons of the past. The two world wars of the 20th century, with their unparalleled brutality and catastrophic consequences, serve as stark reminders of the fragility of peace and the devastating consequences of unchecked aggression. The First World War, sparked by a complex web of alliances and fueled by a toxic mix of nationalism and militarism, plunged the world into a maelstrom of violence. The Second World War, even more brutal and destructive, witnessed the horrors of genocide and the use of atomic weapons. These conflicts, etched into our collective memory, highlight the ease with which seemingly isolated incidents can escalate into global conflagrations. They underscore the importance of international cooperation, diplomacy, and a shared commitment to peace. The parallels to our current predicament are unsettling. The rise of nationalism, the erosion of trust between nations, and the proliferation of advanced weaponry create a volatile and dangerous global landscape. We must heed the warnings of history lest we repeat its darkest chapters. Looming over any discussion of a potential World War III is the terrifying specter of nuclear weapons. The destructive power of these weapons, capable of annihilating entire cities and causing widespread environmental devastation, represents an existential threat to humanity. The concept of mutually assured destruction, while intended as a deterrent, creates a precarious balance of terror. The knowledge that any nuclear attack would trigger a retaliatory strike of equal or greater magnitude has for decades served as a chilling but effective barrier to nuclear war. However, the stability offered by MAD is fragile, reliant on rational actors and the absence of miscalculation or accident. The proliferation of nuclear weapons to more countries, the potential for terrorist groups to acquire such weapons, and the risk of accidental launches all contribute to a deeply unsettling reality. The use of even a single nuclear weapon in a future conflict could trigger a chain reaction with unimaginable consequences. The very existence of these weapons represents a failure of our collective imagination and a stark reminder of the fragility of human civilization. While the threat of nuclear war casts a long shadow, the 21st century has introduced a new dimension to global conflict: cyber warfare. The digital realm, once a domain of innovation and connection, has become a battleground where nations and non-state actors engage in covert operations, espionage, and sabotage. Cyber attacks, unlike traditional military strikes, can cripple critical infrastructure, disrupt financial systems, and sow widespread chaos without a single shot being fired. The anonymity of cyberspace makes it difficult to attribute attacks and deter retaliation, creating a dangerous environment of uncertainty and mistrust. The interconnected nature of our world amplifies the potential consequences of cyber warfare. Attacks on power grids, communication networks, or financial institutions could have cascading effects, paralyzing entire societies and triggering global economic instability. The cyber domain represents a new frontier in warfare, one where the lines between peace and conflict are blurred and the rules of engagement remain ill-defined. As nations race to develop their cyber capabilities, the potential for miscalculation and escalation grows, adding another layer of complexity to an already volatile global landscape. Section 5: Flashpoints where sparks could ignite. Several geopolitical flashpoints stand out where tensions are high and the risk of conflict is acute. These powder kegs could spark a wider conflagration, drawing in major powers. The war in Ukraine is a proxy conflict between Russia and the West. Miscalculation or escalation could create a dangerous situation. Taiwan, claimed by China, is another flashpoint. A Chinese invasion met with US support could trigger a major conflict. The Middle East remains a tinderbox. Tensions between Israel and Iran could escalate rapidly. These regions could ignite a wider conflict. Instability in one region can quickly spread with catastrophic consequences. Section 6: Mutually assured destruction, a delicate balance. In the shadow of the nuclear threat, mutually assured destruction, or MAD, emerged as a cornerstone of global security. This doctrine posits that nuclear weapons deter their use. Any nuclear attack would provoke a retaliatory strike, annihilating both sides. This balance of terror discourages nuclear war. Section 7: The high price of conflict. The consequences of a Third World War, particularly in the age of nuclear weapons and sophisticated cyber warfare, are almost too horrific to contemplate. Such a conflict would result in death and suffering on an unprecedented scale, dwarfing the horrors of previous wars. The immediate impact of a global conflict would be catastrophic. Major cities could be reduced to radioactive rubble. Millions, if not billions, of lives could be lost and entire economies could collapse. The environmental consequences, including widespread famine, disease, and potentially even nuclear winter, could render vast swaths of the planet uninhabitable. Beyond the immediate devastation, a Third World War would have profound and long-lasting consequences for human civilization. The social fabric of societies would be torn apart, trust between nations would evaporate, and the international order, painstakingly rebuilt after the horrors of the 20th century, would lie in ruins. The very survival of humanity, once a philosophical question, could be at stake. The destructive power of modern weaponry, coupled with the interconnected nature of our world, means that a global conflict could unleash a cascade of unintended consequences, potentially leading to our own extinction. Section 8: Diplomacy, the path to peace. In the face of such terrifying possibilities, the only rational course of action is to pursue peace with unwavering determination. Diplomacy, dialogue, and a renewed commitment to international cooperation are not merely options but essential imperatives for our collective survival. We must strengthen international institutions, promote dialogue between adversaries, and work tirelessly to resolve conflicts peacefully. Investing in education, fostering intercultural understanding, and promoting empathy and compassion are crucial for building a more peaceful world. The challenges are immense, but so too is our capacity for hope, resilience, and cooperation. The alternative, a descent into the abyss of global conflict, is too horrific to contemplate. We must choose the path of peace, not just for ourselves, but for generations to come. The future of humanity may very well depend on it.